St. Anthony the Great says, "The only prayer is the one where you no longer know you are praying." To get there, if we get there are stages. Each tradition has its own. In all the traditions, one thing remains. The closer a person gets to God, the more he is silent, the more he listens, to end up fulfilling the first commandment, Shema Israel. To listen is to dive into the depths, into the unity of being, to become one with the present moment, which contains the immutable and the inexpressible. In every human heart there is this longing for union. Man's greatest suffering, says Graf Durkheim, is to be a stranger to himself. That is his deepest evil. This suffering is such that man never ceases to search, and this search has given birth to all the paths and to the different spiritual traditions of humanity, which want to lead us back to the lost paradise. He who seeks finds, says Jesus. One always finds what one is looking for with all one's heart. Even if the dwellings are numerous, the paths to get there are very often similar. In all the great traditions, there are 3 axes. 1, the personal path. Practice is the intensity of permanent vigilance. Nothing without polarization and permanent exercise. 2, the community path. The common work, the liturgy, food, prayer, creating fraternal ties by shaving down our egos so that the person emerges, the premise of a new humanity. It is the leaven in the dough, day by day. 3, the path of service. It is the sacrament of the other, which verifies and authenticates our commitment. It is sharing and mutual aid in all its forms. Works of charity with the neighbor. One of the characteristics of the personal path is the mantra. This word, well known today in the West, is an Indian term which means the incessant repetition of a brief formula. This has the effect of silencing the mind and bringing us into the presence of the invoked mystery. As Psalm 1 says, "Blessed is the man who whispers the word day and night." The repetition of a sentence, a word, or a short prayer gathers little by little all the energies towards the center of our being. The body itself reharmonizes in its energy architecture and will help and promote concentration on the mantra. The idea is to constantly murmur this mantra, to repeat it in oneself, so that little by little the word becomes incarnate. All traditions agree on the power of the holy name. In India, it is Namajapa, the repetition of the holy name of God, either alone or in a formula which contains the name. In Buddhism, it is the Nembutsu, a formula of homage to the Buddha, Amida, of which there is even a danced form. In Sufism, it is the Dikra, the classic formula being La ilaha illallah, no God apart from God, formula found in the Psalms. There are no other gods but you. From the beginning, the disciple who repeats the mantra is powerfully oriented. God alone. These invocations involve the body and rely on it thanks to rhythm and breathing, so that the formula becomes completely internalized in the consciousness of the breath, and one gradually finds oneself silently before the one whom we invoke. There is a real need to replace beliefs with personal experience, to find your heart and the one who lives in it. Whatever the invocation, It is always addressed to God, therefore contains the holy name, implicitly or explicitly. It is therefore the emergence of a heart-to-heart, body, soul, spirit. It is a real inner momentum that can spring up in any day-to-day situation and at any time. It renews and deepens the awareness of the presence of God. It intensifies the unity of work with the will of God in the present moment. As is said in Zen, it is the law of all or nothing. Those who are not with me scatter, says Christ. With Him, here and now, through the practice of a mantra that resonates in the smallest of my cells and opens the way to resurrection. We can do it in the form of a reminder every hour for 1 to 5 minutes. Regular reminders using a discrete ringtone allows us to root speech in us, allows us to embody it and to assimilate. It becomes food of life. Let us regain awareness of the vital importance of regularity in practice. Each prayer must be accompanied by an ordering of the body in terms of the right attitude, as proposed by Alfred Graf Durkheim, and as we have been teaching here at Bethany for 40 years. It should be noted that the prayer, said to be of Jesus, occupies an eminent place in Orthodox Christianity. It is a privileged path to the heart, the precious pearl of the hesychastic tradition. In the end, it is not so much the technique used that counts, as the sincerity of the heart of the one who undertakes to seek first the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness.